Right, so welcome ladies and gentlemen to another video. As you have guys have already guessed by the title of the video, this is it. This is the end of the series of where I started off doing this challenge for running down dementia, where I initially wanted to do 10 kilometers every single day to raise enough money to charity, to ended up running my first ever marathon, which was crazy. The best thing about it is I did it, and that's like what this whole video is about, is to go through the process of not only how I did it and what was the entire process of actually going to do the marathon, which was just not only a humbling process but just also a very, very, very messy process. Let's just start from the start of the day. So how it all started on the day, I literally it's probably the worst way to start. I woke up at like 10 in the morning. My initial plan was to actually wake up early, get the run done pretty much early enough, so therefore it's over and done with and I don't have to worry about it. And yeah, I ended up sleeping in, and my girlfriend had to like forcefully wake me up and say, "Samantha, like get up, go do your run, get it over and done with." And I was just like, for the entire time, I was excited, but I was also dreading it at the same time because, again, like 42.2 kilometers and 26.2 miles is not something that you're always going to look forward into doing. But I was excited. So I got myself ready, had my big breakfast, and so on and so forth. And then I think initially I just had nothing prepared. Like, realistically, I didn't really record a lot either from the video, like from the day of me doing the marathon. So it's very saturated in terms of what I can actually provide in terms of content. Yeah, and like my preparation was terrible. Like, I was supposed to have my fully charged portable charger with me for the run. It was not fully charged anyways, so that went out the window. And also the fact is that I was actually carrying my Nike bag, which is right here. Initially I was planning to like carry some headphones, some gum, some goo for carbohydrates and stuff like that in this bag. And then I found out as soon as I started running, it started scratching the back of my neck, and I was like, no, this is not gonna happen. I can't go for this entire run with that happening, with me coming back with like literally just hanging skin looking like gammon. It's just not gonna look good. So I decided to get one of these bags from Sports Direct, which was 20 quid. Not too bad. And like the best thing about it is that it clips in from the chest and then from the side, and this is where I would put my goos in. I think one of them's still in there, and I would have my headphones in there. And worked like a charm, pretty lightweight, nothing I could complain about. But yeah, and even the fact is that I didn't really have like the plan rooted out either, like properly. So I was just going off the whim of it, and just went on Google Maps, see which is like at least a good 13 miles out, and then I can run back 13 miles. So like overall in terms of a preparation aspect, wasn't good. But I feel like in terms of just getting it done, I was up there in terms of just like getting it over and done with, doing it, and just being purely excited of going through a process that really truly tested my character, tested my resilience, but also kind of just like reshaped the way I think about endurance sports. Now, through running the 13 miles originally, so the goal was to run to Durham Harrington Coast, which is a coastline which is pretty close to a Hortonley Spring or Hortonley Hole, if most people do know where those are and where those areas are, which are very nice places to say the least. And initially the first half of the marathon, so the first 21 kilometers, were pretty much a breeze. Like, I never really had an issue. I was going at a very steady pace. I think I started off at going at a 4 minutes and 50 seconds per kilometer pace, if I'm correct, or it was close to, like, I was trying to get an average between 4:50 to at least 5 minutes and 30 seconds. And I was trying to maintain that through the first 21 kilometers, and then that would leave me enough in the tank to kind of blast through the last bit. And I can't stress this enough, like how terribly wrong I was into thinking that that was a good idea. Because by the time I got to the end of the 13 miles, I was shot. I had the biggest blister on my right foot, and it was just horrific. Honestly, it was disgusting. It was so painful, and then I started getting it in my left leg, and then it was just like, there was just so many different kind of obstacles that were trying to kind of hinder myself from actually finishing the run. But again, I just decided just to plod on, just to carry on, get over and done with, and just like fight through the pain. As painful as it was, I just decided to just go through with it. So I got to my 13 miles, so I decided to make a quick pit stop. So I was like, right, I'm going to have my goo, I'm going to have a quick drink. So I bought like 2 bottles of water, one with them that had a bit of salt in it. I put a bit of pink Himalayan salt, which I've pretty much brutally did not put enough in because I could barely taste anything. And then I bought 2 electrolyte drinks, which was the Lucozade orange drinks, so Lucozade Sport. They definitely helped. And yeah, so I decided to make that stop. And then I was trying to like charge my phone because it was close to again to death. It was like 8%, and then I realized the portable charger was pretty much broke, so well, dead. So I was like, so therefore content was not created that day, unfortunately, in terms of video. But again, this is just me explaining how my experience was. So then after a good 5 minutes after stopping and just kind of like refiguring out what I needed to do, so I was at 21 kilometers at that point, so I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna head back. Now the worst bit about the run back, and this is what again, like me planning this route, why it was so shit is because I didn't plan it properly or even realize the elevation and like the kind of the difference in height and like downhill, uphill kind of routes. I ended up going primarily downhill on the way there, and then on the way back it was all uphill. Like everything was uphill. I was like, for good 10, I would say about 10 to 12 kilometers, most of it was just uphill. And it was just so painful. My knees, my ankles, my hip flexors, like my hips got so tight that I literally could not raise my knees any higher than what you would do for like a knee tap. So like getting it to like where it's like knee to hip length, it just was not getting there. So it was brutally exhausting. And while my phone was dying because I had my music playing at the same time, that's when it started to get worrying, because that's when you start to kind of like, that's where the second voice starts to kick in. It's like, why are you doing this? Like, you're not going to finish this. Your body's in too much pain. Stop what you're doing. And there were so many points where I would try to think of as 102 freaking excuses per minute of how can I basically make this out as not an excuse. How can I end this run earlier without sounding like a bitch? And thinking of different avenues and different routes of like, how can I get home quicker? How can I shorten my time down? Because at this point, my goal was to hit 4 hours. That goal was nowhere close. I was literally I think I was like maybe 30 kilometers in, and I was already past the 3 hour mark. It was like 3 hours and 25 minutes, so I knew for a fine fact I was nowhere close to getting that 4 hour mark. So I thought, you know what, I'll just go as quick as I can and see what happens if I do finish it at a decent time. And the worst part where I got up to is that where I was trying to think, like I was thinking of different ways of like how I can stop the pain. So I was thinking like, what if I hopped on this bus? for like 2 stops. Whereas like, and I'll keep my Apple Watch on, and then like the time, and then like it looks like I've done the distance a little bit quicker. And I just realized how weak my mind is. Like, even though I've done all these different challenges, like how very weak for me to think that way in terms of finishing a marathon that is for charity. So I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And it just goes to show that no matter how difficult the situation is or how confident you are of completing something, there's always going to be a situation where you are going to be tested. And those tests and those tribulations, you have to find a way to overcome them without actually giving in to those situations and going with the decision that you're primarily going to regret anyways. So I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to continue with the run. And I kept on literally speaking to myself. I was just like, you can't show this weakness. Not in terms of a weakness that like you can't show that mental weakness, like that physical weakness. Because again, my body was just weak. Like I literally, my whole preparation leading towards this marathon, which I would say was pretty comical, but very, very just stupid at the same time because of like how unprepared everything was in terms of the lead up towards this. So I not only blame myself for not getting the time that I wanted, but I also blame myself for the damage that I caused to my body in terms of just like literally annihilating me. But yeah, so going back to my point, it's just that you have to just kind of knuckle down to those deep thoughts of insecurity, but also just like where there's that small chance of giving up, and just brushing past them and trying to make the best out of the situation and think, how can I learn from this? So therefore next time when I am dealing with a situation like this, I can overcome it no problem at all. And essentially that's what I did. And I was happy that I did that and I didn't succumb to those feelings of going on the bus or finding an easier route to kind of get this run over and done with and just go and just fighting through the pain. Or as they say in the army terms, it's just to kind of embrace the suck, which I was really, really happy for. And then this was probably another challenging situation that I had to deal with as well. Is that when I started getting very close to the end of the run, so it was like the last 5, I wouldn't say 5, probably around the last 5 kilometers of the run, I had to go to the point where I was literally doing sets of 20 seconds for walking and 50 seconds for running. And that made it not only interesting in terms of how to deal with that cope of pain, because my legs just could not withstand the impact anymore of continuous running. So I literally had to kind of break it down as like, right, I'm going to have to walk a little bit while also run a little bit at the same time. So I would walk for 20 seconds, and then as soon as that would count down, I would forcefully run. Because initially, before that, I couldn't do that. I just had to I would walk for 2-3 minutes and then run a minute. But then this, I feel like, was a good strategy on my side to kind of just think okay, this is the only way that I'm going to be able to continuously run without actually breaking more of my body apart. So I did that, and that helped me finish the run at 4 hours and 40 minutes. Now, me myself, I'm not happy with the time that I got, because I definitely knew I could do 4 hours. I feel like this is all my fault in terms of the preparation and obviously just the lead up towards it. It just wasn't, I wasn't doing things right in terms of a proper marathon prep. So that is definitely down in the books in terms of a lesson learned. But I am super happy about actually finishing the run. Because when I got back home, when I finished that run and I took that photo, my girlfriend came over to my house and just to check up on me. And I was just completely exhausted. I was like, just take this photo of me. I'm just going to freaking thumbs up, look like I'm okay. And then I just crumbled. And then I sat in a car and I was sat there for a good 5-10 minutes. I was just like, I can't believe I did it. Like, I actually did it. And again, for most people, a marathon is not something massively impressive. Like, I'm not going to take away anything from anybody who's, like, obviously an endurance athlete or who has run a marathon. They know themselves how fucking hard it is. So I don't even need to prove a point to you guys. But for the people who have never ran a marathon or have never really faced something that truly tests their character or demands a huge amount, not only from their body but also their soul, trust me, that was just completely it was completely eye-opening to me as well. So if you ever, like, are getting to the point where you just kind of question a lot of things that you're doing in your life, and there's, like, a lot of unanswered questions that you just want to kind of understand a little bit better, I would definitely recommend you just doing something that is completely uncomfortable, like, I would say, like a marathon, or even doing just something that feels kind of uneasy, like doing a 2-hour bike ride, which is pretty hard, but obviously still nice and easy. Doing a 20 to 30 minute swim. I've recently just started doing swimming, and I forgot how hard it is. Like, literally, there was these old Granny Smiths that were just freaking flying past me, leaving me in the waves. I was like, Jesus Christ, freaking Nana was doing some damage. But, and just do something that truly kind of, like, makes you feel uncomfortable. And those are the best life lessons that you can be ever taught. And that'll be from school or from, like, college, university, whatever. These lessons themselves really truly test you as a person and brings the actual you out. So therefore you can actually break that down and say, okay, this is what I definitely need to work with. So for me, it's definitely working on being more mentally tough, having physical preparation towards something, sticking to a proper prep regime, and also just be more prepared. Like, I feel like preparation was the biggest thing that I took away from this, that I was just very, very much lacking. And I hope that teaches all of you a valuable lesson in terms of if there's anything that you guys are planning to do, any of the challenges that you want to face yourselves, or any kind of, like, sporting kind of endurance event that you're trying to lead up towards. Just take that point. Preparation is so, so important, because if you fail to prepare, you are prepared to fail. And nobody knows that better than me at the moment, because I did definitely fail in a certain way of preparation, but I obviously took away that massive lesson for myself. But apart from that, guys, that is the end of the marathon prep. Obviously, I'm bringing out a lot more videos. I'm focusing more on my content in terms of my journey towards becoming a personal trainer. My Q&A sessions. I should have the Q&A session with Ross out very, very soon, which I'm excited about as well. And also the fact is just that there's just going to be you guys are just like, you're on the journey with me. And I want you guys to see exactly how everything pans out. And if I become this little fitness flop that turns out to be on, like, freaking the Bad Guys meme, if you ever watch them, just watch him. I'll put his link down in the bio because it's hilarious. Then that's fine. Like, I'm just willing to commit to something that I feel like I will definitely enjoy in the long term. If it doesn't work out, then that's fine. I'll have no regrets. But hopefully it does, because obviously I do like to put a lot of work into these videos. Well, so it seems to my perception, but we'll just see. But apart from that, guys, if you have enjoyed the video, please drop a like, subscribe, and put the post notifications up, so therefore you can get notified to the next video that will come out. Apart from that, have a good day, guys. Peace.